Hello, everyone. I'm Jillian Magee with Magee Jewellers and Designers. And today we're doing a great conversation with Tyson Roset and discussing, thank you, Tyson, for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to be discussing today about lab diamonds. And Tyson's been in the business for years. So Tyson, why don't you start out with telling a bit of your background?
Thank you. I started in jewelry right at the very beginning of my life. My family started in retail jewelry. I was working there polishing rings when I was 12, 13 years old, sold my first engagement ring at 16 years old. My father introduced me to the wholesale industry in Montreal, where I worked with Polar Bear Diamond and introduced Polar Bear to the USA market. Transitioned to my own company and then to the international company where I am now at Offer Mizrahi Diamonds and Green Rocks Diamonds. So we offer both natural and the lab grown stones.
Excellent. It's been quite a wonderful journey that you've been on, and it's amazing. I grew up in a family business also, and it is amazing that there's no one else you'll work harder for than your parents. And it's amazing. I always laugh because I could be in another country and something could go wrong, but it would almost fall back that I've forgotten to do something or something took place. So I find
it may be a good reminder, because I think your son is working with you now, right?
Yeah, he is. I do have to remind myself of that every once in a while. But the great thing is I find it does start a great foundation for your career. And to me, if you have anyone in an organization that's worked for a family, they know how to work and they know what it is. So, yeah. So
Agreed.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is, so how many years have you been selling mined diamonds?
Mined diamonds as a wholesale, I've been doing probably, I think 16 years now.
Okay.
It was 10 years with my own company, 3 years with Bazell, and 3 years where I am now.
Okay.
Which Bazell was Polar Bear.
Okay, yes, right. Now, how many years, Tyson, have you been selling lab diamonds?
So lab grown diamonds is a really interesting thing in the jewelry market currently right now. It's actually been around a very long time. The technology has, but the ability to make jewelry quality lab diamonds is fairly new. That only really started getting into the market 4 years ago. And people at that time, we were all very hesitant at that moment, like not quite sure about this, wondering where the market is going to go. I personally started getting involved about 3 years ago, was when I saw my first lab grown stone, realized at that moment that, wow, there is real value in this stone, especially for the right type of buyer.
Exactly. Now, do you find, so you've been with lab diamonds about 3-4 years?
3 years. Yeah, 3 years plus.
So what we found on our end of the retail market is that I've been in the jewelry business now for 24 years. Mark's been in the business for just over 30 years. And this is probably the lab diamonds entering the market in the retail market is one of the biggest game changers we've seen in years.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree. I haven't seen something in the market like this my entire 15 years. It's very exciting because of the options that it presents and it gives to customers, especially who need the options. And there has been a huge demand for the stones, especially the ones that are grown and cut properly. There's multiple different sources or growers or ways of doing these stones, and each one comes with a different benefit or consequence.
Okay, and that's what we find it's all about, is options. So when a customer comes into us, now many customers have not heard about lab diamonds, or many have come to us, it's either they have not heard about it or they've heard that we sell lab diamonds and come to us that way. But it's about giving the client options, because before I found that when the customer came in and the customer was wanting a larger size stone and they had a certain price point, you really almost had to go with something that was not appealing in a ring in order to meet their budget. And so it was almost like you had to give up something. And lab diamonds, I find the game changers is there is no giving up like anything. Like with a budget, we can work it that we can get it, you know, usually a nice size, beautiful quality, color, cut, you know, and you can put a nice offer together. And then if they're not wanting the lab diamond, then we have the option of doing a diamond that was mined.
Absolutely. So the ideal customer for a lab grown stone would probably be one who's walks into the store with a price already in their mind of, I can only spend this much, but they have an idea in their mind of a ring that they would like to make, that they would like, or a piece that they would like to make, that may be a little bit beyond that budget. Exactly today, I was quoting a stone to a store, and their budget was only getting them a 70-point M color Si2 diamond. Then we flipped that over and they said, well, what about lab? And we were able to find them 80-point D color VS1 for under the budget. And so it gave the option, and immediately they knew that was the right stone for the right ring, just because the customer was ecstatic about the quality that they would be getting. There's a little bit of, you know, confusion at that point because, well, why is this one so much less money? Why is that one so much more? And really it's the process, and it is where the diamond comes from, the costs that are invested into it. I think we'll go into that in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, it is so interesting, the option that it gives. So then we have, so what made you enter the lab diamond market? Was it just the demand?
So before lab grown diamonds, a really big stone was a moissanite stone.
Right.
Moissanite, it was the closest thing that we had created to a diamond that was not the price of a diamond. And I always loved moissanite for the customers who were stuck with the budget or who were in a particular range, because my belief is everyone deserves something that they're beautiful and they're proud of.
Exactly.
Regardless what they're paying for, what the cost is, they should love it. It should be a cherished heirloom, and they should be proud of it. So that's when I saw that first lab grown back 3 years ago. I realized this is the new way to be able to help a customer get a real diamond, an actual diamond in their ring, and still hit the budgets.
Yeah, and it does. We've done many customers that came in and were looking for a larger size stone, and when you showed the stone that their budget was going to be able to be, they didn't like the color, they didn't like the clarity, and we did moissanite. And again, it's all about options. It's about educating our clientele and giving options. And that moissanite did give it. And then when lab came along, it was a game changer. It was a complete game changer. So can you please explain to everyone how a lab diamond can be a diamond, the same type of diamond as a mine diamond?
Okay, so chemically and molecularly, the way that the lab diamond and a natural diamond is composed is exactly the same. The way that the molecules bond and create the entire structure is exactly the same piece. You can't decipher between the two. The only difference is they came from a different mother. One was born in a lab, the other was born in the earth. And is a human that's created in a test tube still a human? I would wager to say yes. All the DNA is there, all the molecules are there. It would still be the same sort of idea. It's just one is made in a different place. What it really is a testament to human ingenuity. We're now alchemists. We're creating diamonds out of nothing, and this is This is a human achievement, probably one of the best human achievements in the last couple of years.
It is amazing what technology has done. And just like in so many other industries that have been, so many other industries have been affected by technology. And that's kind of the same as this also, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
it makes more options, which is fabulous. So
it is.
So how is the lab diamond grown?
So there's really two different main types of diamonds, lab grown diamonds. There's a CVD method of growth, a chemical vapor disposition, and deposits. What that is let's give an analogy. Diamonds can form in outer space, in interstellar clouds. And so that would just be molecules mixing around, gathering and clumping together. That's how we create a CVD diamond. We have a seed of a diamond. We pump in the carbon and it bonds and it grows into this shape of a certain cell. That's a CVD. HPHT, instead of being an interstellar cloud, would be like the diamond that's made in the middle of the earth under high pressure, high temperature. So that one actually does use heat, does use pressure, where the other one uses chemicals to deposit and bond.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing, isn't it? Like, they
pretty
both,
amazing.
Be it if it's mined and comes out of the ground, it works from, the carbon seed, and it's the same as, being in the lab. And it's amazing what technology has brought about and made it more affordable to so many consumers.
More affordable, and there is other benefits that go along with it as well. We're not turning over earth in the ground to get this out. What we're doing is harnessing what's in nature already, bringing it together and creating something new out of it. The footprint on the environment is a lot. It's not even really comparable between the two. And the process of growing lab diamonds is getting even more and more efficient, even less wasteful, and every day is becoming better.
Yes, because some lab diamond companies, I've read in articles, are actually, because for the energy that's required, they're actually even putting solar panels on top of their buildings to generate energy in order to run the tanks.
And we're all very focused on being environmentally conscious, because that is one of the main benefits of the lab grown diamond. So we focus on being a net carbon zero company. So we do the same idea of having at our factory, where there's the big machines that put it all together. Some of it is being powered by solar.
And I find that I don't think a lot of people realize that in order to bring a diamond out of the ground, of course, it doesn't come out cut. In order to bring it out of the ground, it requires so much earth to be moved just to find, 1 carat of a diamond, or, diamond size pieces. So it is amazing how much you do cut down on moving of earth, and, knowing the location of where it came from. And there are so many benefits to it, to our environment. Absolutely. And to the consumer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there's myths I find in all the years that there's always myths in the jewelry business, which I always found interesting, but there are some myths in the lab diamond. So one of the ones is that actually took a call the other day, and a lady said, they're all D color, which for those that may not know that are listening is like the best color that you can get in a diamond, and they're all flawless. And so the answer to that myth is false. So do you want to explain how they don't all come out perfect?
The inclusions are actually naturally grown in the stone. It happens completely natural. We can get an I1 diamond, an I2 diamond. We can get an internally flawless diamond. In fact, I've seen very few internally flawless lab-grown diamonds. It's almost as rare as in nature. In comparison to what I've seen, it would be less than 1% of lab diamonds are internally flawless. The inclusion happens naturally. The inclusion is something that, as long as it's something that you can't see with the naked eye, I like it being there. It's a fingerprint in your stone. You know exactly what stone is your stone. It's identifiable from every other gem in the entire world that your stone is completely unique. We can trace that mapping. We can tell whether the diamond has been inscribed, which lab-grown diamonds should be all inscribed.
Yes.
If it's not, though, we can tell by the types of inclusions, by where they are situated, that it's a unique stone, what the stone was. And there's certain inclusions that develop differently in a lab-grown diamond that under magnification of 80 times, that's the one time that you can sometimes see that this was a lab-grown stone. Is it just the tiniest different type of inclusion? The way that it developed would be, but that's under 80 times magnification.
Exactly. So it's just amazing, like how it all comes together.
Yeah, but the myth of them being all flawless, I would probably assume that may have been mixed with an idea of a cubic zirconia or possibly a moissanite. Neither of those stones have any inclusions in them. Moissanites are not D color. So I'm leaning more towards somebody got confused with the cubic zirconia.
And that's so funny, because that's almost what I was wondering at the time too, and questioning, is that if they had gotten mixed up between a cubic zirconia or the moissanite. So what we have found that we've explained to a lot of customers is a lot of times what we're finding is higher color, higher clarity in lab grown diamonds, just because when they're grown under pressure, you can control the temperature, as opposed to Mother Nature. You can't control the temperature. That's why sometimes you get such a fluctuation in color and clarity and everything. So we are able, like those that are growing them are able to control a little bit of the environment. So, but they don't come out perfect. There's a full range of what you can get, which is wonderful, because it gives you a full range of what you can offer your client.
Not just white stones either. We now have discovered how to make the colored stones, that we would add things like boron to make a diamond blue, and we would add different molecules, different chemicals into the mix of carbon to adjust the color. And the same way that diamonds become yellow or red or blue, in nature, we do it with lab-grown diamonds by infusing different molecules with the carbon.
And isn't that wonderful? Because it's going to open up a whole new market, right? Like it's
Absolutely.
just, there's so many exciting things that are happening in the jewelry industry now that have not been happening for years, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think your camera just popped off there.
If somebody's trying to buzz through, I just need to decline that call. Am I still with you, Jillian?
You're there with me now.
Okay, good.
So there's another myth in the jewelry industry with lab diamonds. And I had someone say to me one time, this was I think it was around Christmas time, that they said, oh, they could tell by looking at a diamond that it was a lab diamond, and which is false. A diamond is a diamond, and a lab diamond is a diamond, and a mine diamond is a diamond. So how would you answer that if someone had asked you that?
So there's a couple different things. I know the technical answer, but I also know my personal answer. I don't know how many diamonds I've looked at in my career, and I can't tell the difference. Even under loop, even what I explained under magnification, I've never personally myself seen what would be the telltale sign under magnification of a type of inclusion. So that's extremely rare. To be able to tell the difference, nobody can. GIA has, which is Gemological Institute of America, which is the foremost of a diamond grading in the entire world. IGI is the other grading lab that is very strong in lab. Both of them have invested huge amounts of money to be able to determine the difference between them. Right now, if you or I, Jillian, were to need to test a difference, the tester is actually fairly expensive to tell the
Yes.
difference between them. It's about a $6,000 machine to tell the difference between a lab and a natural. We, with the human eye, we cannot tell. That's why the inscription in the girdle is very important. The customer should know, the end person that is getting the gift should know what it is, and should be proud of what it is, because there's good reasons to think lab, there's good reasons to think natural. Each customer has a preference, and it's there for a reason.
I find it's very important to educate your customer, and we always show the paperwork and with the stone. So especially when you're presenting the ring to them, we open up the paperwork, we show them, like, how it has an inscription on it, it has its number, tell them to make a copy of it for them and also a copy for their insurance company, like tuck it away and everything so you have it. I think communication is very important, that you explain what they are purchasing, show them the paperwork that comes along with it. And but it is great, that it does have the inscription, because it's one more thing, especially even for the case of it being stolen. If you had to go into someplace and claim that it was yours, you have the inscription, or with your GIA paper, you would also take and have the map layout, what we explained before, which is great because it's just like a thumbprint. It's only that diamond that has that.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
which is awesome. So there was some big news that was recently released by your company for about the lab diamonds. And can you explain to everybody what that is and how it works?
So I feel like there's been two pieces of good news. I think you're referring to the first one, which is that we are now certifying with GIA.
Yes.
Diamonds. We were actually the first company in the world to certify stones with GIA. When we first sent our goods there, we actually tested them. We sent natural diamonds, we sent lab diamonds, we sent different types of diamonds that had been treated afterwards, and to see what they caught, and they aced it. They absolutely aced every single one. They caught us when we were trying to catch them, and quite liked that they did that. I think GIA was 100% ready to get into lab-grown certification. What it does for us in the industry, GIA is, we would say it would be the gospel. It would be the paramount authority on a lab-grown or on grading of diamonds. For them to start grading lab-grown diamonds shows that this is something that's permanent in the market, that this is something that has growth into the future, and that's a company like the Gemological Institute of America is willing to invest the kind of money that they did to be able to determine all those different factors of lab-grown stones. So we tested them. We are getting some beautiful, beautiful certifications from them. And then second point, I'm not sure if you even know about this, Jillian. We were the company that petitioned both the GIA and IGI to disclose on certificates if a diamond, a lab-grown stone, has been treated post-growth.
Yes.
So this, and you will now see on the certificate, since about November of last year, no additional treatments or as grown is going to be showing on the certificate. And what they're testing there is when a diamond comes out as a type 2A diamond, that's very technical. What it means is that it's pure carbon. No other molecule is existing inside of the stone. They can take the stone, use a technique called HPHT, like we use to grow them, and alter the color of the stone. This was the Wild West of diamonds, and back a year and a half ago, and we've been pushing for regulation because this is something that we see going forward being very important to consumers, to jewelers, to wholesalers, to growers, manufacturers. It's a big piece of our future. So we wanted to make sure every part of it was documented, every part of it was disclosed. So we were the company that pushed GIA, IGI to start putting on their certificates has grown.
And I think that's just excellent because, again, it's another way of being accountable to the consumer, right? To say, here is what you're buying. And it's all in the paperwork. And to us, when GIA came aboard with the lab industry, that was the game changer, because that really was almost the stamp of approval of saying, this isn't going away. Like, this is really, lab diamonds are here to stay. They're making a huge change in the industry. And with GIA coming ahead and doing that, and now also doing the second step that you just spoke about, it really is great for the consumer. And that's what we all want, is in the end, we want our customer to know what they're buying and be informed on it, be knowledgeable on it, be educated on it. And at the end of the day, like you said earlier, be proud of what they have on their hand, or, in their ears with earrings, or, and be proud of what they have and know what they have.
I agree. Absolutely. Everything does need to be, especially with lab grown diamonds, like I said, the Wild West, we need to inform our customers, disclose 100% about the stone, what it is, where it came from, where it was grown, where it was cut, give as much information as we can, disclose absolutely everything. There's really so much to be proud of in a lab diamond, that we're not wanting to pretend that this is a natural diamond. No, there's two separate options. Both are amazing. Both come with very good benefits.
Yes, and that is really that's something that we've always prided ourselves on, is educating our customer. Like, you may come in to choose to buy a diamond from us. We want to give you options, but the biggest thing is you may not choose to go with us. Mind you, many pretty much do. But the biggest thing is that when you leave, you are knowledgeable on what you're buying, so that what was it that the lab offers, what does the mind offer. You know more things, especially like even many customers come in and they don't know the 4 C's, like that we can explain that out, and we want them to be comfortable, feeling that they can ask us questions and that, and leave our establishment knowing more than when they arrived, and having the facts and not having myths or anything like that. And that's a big portion of why we're doing this tonight, is just to the fact that it's educating, it's letting our consumer know. So yeah,
the education is really, it's so good, because the purchase and the piece that we're making is a once in a lifetime experience. It is going to be cherished for if you're buying your favorite car, or the car that you've been dreaming about for years, you're going to research more than you've ever discovered about cars or knew about cars before that. Same thing goes into this kind of purchase. It's such a huge moment. We're blessed, Jillian, to be part of that.
It really is. And to have, I always get a kick out of it, because I'm always fascinated when a gentleman comes in to purchase the diamond, because I've always said that it's pretty much, there just seems to be a game changer for them. And so many of them literally wake up that morning and are like, okay, today's the day. So, whatever changed their outlook on the relationship from the night before or the week before, and then they wake up and they decide they're wanting to get engaged. What a wonderful honor that we are given, that they come to Mark and I, and for that they trust us, and they want to come and buy something from us. And, we custom designed a piece for them. And as you've received many calls from me of, how quick can you get me something here of what we're looking for? This is what our client wants. And we've been so fortunate that so many times you come through and find me whatever our client needs. And that's what it's about. Like, but what a great blessing to be asked to do that with for someone to find, the ring of her dreams. So it is, and it's a wonderful industry to be in. And it just is so exciting with everything that's before us, with all the lab diamonds and in the industry. So
absolutely,
had a couple other little things to go over too. What we find is what do you find the biggest difference is between the lab diamond and the mine diamond?
The obvious biggest difference is price. And the price difference is big. I would say it's a third of the price. So on an average, we'll give it. I gave an example earlier about a 70-point M color SI2. It doesn't make much sense, but let's just imagine if the customer had a budget for a 70-point G color I1, which at this budget, either we're at an M color, which is going to be considered a flaw, or it is going to be an I1, which is considered a flaw. So the customer has to give away something to be able to hit that budget. Typically, I'm seeing that stone goes up into a carat 20 D color BS1 or a carat 50, probably SI1 GH. And it's a completely different stone. You put those two stones beside each other, it's like the thumbnail compared to the pinky finger. It's a massive comparison. No comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing, like, because we've done that before, that when I have a customer that's kind of, they're thinking mine, but they're kind of wondering the lab way, I'll bring in the mine. And then I've said to you many times, look, for the same amount that they're wanting to send, what can we get for a lab diamond? And the same thing, like, you know, you're showing them a 0.7 or, you know, a 1.2 and, you know, higher color, higher, you know, clarity. And it's very interesting to watch their faces, because they're like, you know, it's from this, which is, you know, fine and great. But then they're like, you know, I can have that. And yeah, so it is, again, giving options, but it is a difference in price, I find. You know, we had one gentleman, I remember you were helping me, and we brought in, he was looking for a carat, and I believe the mine carat came in, it was going to be around about 12,000 retail. And then the lab carat came in around about 6,500, in around $7,800. And, you know, that is a big difference. So for that consumer, he went with the lab diamond. Now, something that we're asked a lot is the value, is holding the value in years to come. And what would you say with that?
So again, I'll just say it one more time, that we're still discovering the lab grown diamonds. The market is changing so fast. The technology is changing so fast. I said it's the Wild West of jewelry. Right now, where we compare is what's available on the market and the demand that comes out. So the diamonds are based on supply and demand currently in the pricing. Where I see it going, to be honest, my opinion keeps changing on that. A year ago, I would have said that the prices have to decline. But what we've seen over the last year is the demand for lab-grown diamonds has skyrocketed. Prices have not gone down. In fact, they've stayed solid in the pricing. It's not the type of stone where you would want to say this is an investment, because we don't know where it's going to be 10 years from now. That honestly is a mystery. What we do know is today it is worth this. Today it is this beautiful, and it can make this piece for you. Don't buy a lab-grown diamond and consider that this is something you're going to sell in the future. Buy a lab-grown diamond that's going to be on a finger forever. Exactly.
And what we always look at too is, like, one of the things that Mark's already has explained too is that really, if you're wanting to buy this, if you're wanting to do an investment, stocks, real estate, you're buying a diamond, a piece of jewelry to love and adore, you know, on her hand, and for her to enjoy. The other thing that we've explained to some customers when they're kind of in between, I'm like, and I said to one customer, it was about a difference of about $5,000 in between the two stones that they were looking at. And I said, okay, I said, you could buy this diamond, or you could buy this diamond and there's a $5,000 difference. Well, for a couple starting out, $5,000, that's a good chunk into the wedding. It's a portion on a down payment, towards the home, or a really nice honeymoon. To me, you can kind of look at it that way. You could, as Mark's explained many times to some customers, that it depends where you want to put your value too, in the sense that you could be putting an extra $5,000 up front, but what else could you be doing with that $5,000 and putting it somewhere else too? So that's one of the things that we've always looked for. Another thing that we've found, and I don't know if you find this as much, but we've talked about many times, like, we've had customers that have a mine diamond and say they purchased it 5 years ago and now there's not a need for the diamond anymore. The market is so flooded, we find, with, some people trying to get rid of, marketplace, or I guess it would be like, sometimes it used to be Kijiji and things like that, and trying to sell a diamond that, we've seen it before, that customers that have paid, $11,000, $12,000 for a mine diamond, that I've said to them, if you can get $3,000, in your pocket, take it. So, there kind of comes that thing too, is that the market is so flooded. You're not purchasing a diamond really for the investment, because there is so many on the resale that you won't be able to obtain what you had put into it, or nearly to what you have put into it.
It's really a question of, do you know how to sell this? And so if they have a collection diamond and then they want to sell it, and their idea is to go sell it online on Kijiji, that's not how you sell that piece. You need the right buyer to get the right price, the right buyer looking for the right piece. If you're selling it on Kijiji, it's more like a fire sale. You'll get what somebody is wanting to steal it from you for.
Exactly.
A lot of diamond, we deal with a lot of natural diamonds. Some of them have been waiting for years for the right home. Just because the price stays solid on those diamonds, and the right buyer hasn't come around for the right stone yet. And I don't think the average person who's looking to turn over or to sell a piece of jewelry has the patience to be able to do that. So they end up selling it for far less than it's worth, than it should be, just because they don't have the expertise of actually knowing what to do with this piece. The best thing that they really could do would be to ask you, Jillian, to help them with it. But I would not look at buying a natural diamond and then trying to resell it. I would say that that's something that if your budget can afford to be able to keep, hold on to it. And now the same thing for lab grown diamonds. The cost has already been invested into having that beautiful piece. If it's something that currently you don't like anymore, or it's from a older relationship, maybe somebody like Mark would redesign that, turn it into a piece that represents your current life, because the diamond still is forever, and it can become multiple different pieces and mean different things to you.
That's the beauty of the diamond, is that I've said to so many people, is if you have a piece of jewelry and there's a diamond in it, that's your value. So once you take it out of a setting that once was, like, if it was an engagement ring and now that's not needed anymore, once we remove that out of the engagement ring, it's a diamond. So placing it into a beautiful pendant, and we've done so many of those, like, especially even ladies that inherit like their aunt's rings or their grandmother's rings, and the style's not for them, and then we remove the diamonds and then reset into a new setting. And it's exactly what you said, like, once you pull it out and put it into something else, it's a new piece of jewelry, which is awesome. So I think it had one kind of I think we kind of covered it all. Actually, we did the value and everything. So it kind of, I guess, to close up, do you have any kind of last minute thoughts on the lab diamond industry and today? Yeah,
actually, even just today, I learn multiple things about lab grown diamonds every day, and I've been dealing with them for years. I know you're going through the same ride, Jillian, that There's something new that you hear every day. What's really interesting and shocked me here today was there's different online databases that tabulate searches, different types of what people are requesting. Exponentially, people have been searching for bigger lab-grown diamonds than I ever thought. Sold lab-grown diamonds that are just this week that are in, 5 figures stones. And I did not think 3 years ago that we would be selling lab-grown diamonds at that value. I thought that it would be replacing moissanite and that we would use it for the budget type stones. But a 4-carat diamond, it could cost a lab-grown diamond. It could cost $50,000, but natural, it's $500,000. And you get this amazing piece of jewelry, this collection piece of jewelry. And I am just surprised by the market and the demand for those larger, bigger stones with the higher price tag that are grown in a lab.
We are finding more and more that customers are going bigger and bigger in sizes, and it's not just the couple that's starting out. It's the client that's always wanted a particular looking stone, and they see the value in doing a lab diamond, because the difference that between the lab and what they would be paying for the mine, they've got other places to put that money. So
absolutely,
I think there's so much more that's going to come out of this industry in the months to come. And so it is extremely exciting. So
once things change enough, maybe we'll have that conversation one more time.
I would be all up for that and fully enjoy that. So
excellent.
Thank you very much, Tyson Roset, for joining me this evening as we went over and talked about lab diamonds, and greatly appreciate you taking the time.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.